Today we're installing an S&B Cold Air Intake, part number 755068. This is for the 2013 to current, or 2014 Dodge Ram pickup trucks with the DEF system on. The one thing that's cool about this intake, a lot of features on this, but the new trucks, the 13 and the 14 Cummins, they have what's called a ram air, an active ram air system. And what it does is it actually has a door in the intake system, in the factory intake system, to draw in cold air from either the front of the truck or from the driver's side fairing wheel, which we're going to get to that and show you that. This box retains that motor. So all of the factory motor inside of the air intake that's going to come off the truck that we're working on today is actually going to go back on the S&B intake. So this is a really cool intake. A lot of engineering went into this. So let's show you what we've got in the box. So first off, we've got an air intake tube. We've got our air intake box. We've got some miscellaneous gaskets, box lid, our hardware kit, and another block off section for the box itself. So now that we've showed you what comes in your kit, let's go ahead and get started with our install. Beginning in the 2013 model year, what Dodge has done is they've introduced an air box in these trucks called the Ram Active Air. And what the Ram Active Air system has in it is it has a door system to where under normal driving conditions, the air box is pulling in air from the passenger side fender well. Now under a hard load or extreme heat, very hot conditions in the engine compartment or ambient air temperature, I would assume, what happens is the door will close to the passenger side fender well, and it'll open up a door to the very front out of the grill, so the air box will actually be pulling in fresh air from the very front of the vehicle. Now in wet conditions or snowy conditions, it will actually almost close both doors, keeping the box sealed, not allowing any moisture to get in the box. So it's a really, it's a very, very advanced system. Again, the good thing about the S&B box is it takes advantage of this by keeping this door system in place on the air kit. So we're going to go ahead and start with our install. And the first thing we're going to do, and this is not part of the normal install, we just want to actually show you how the active air system is set up inside the stock box. What we've done first off is we've disconnected our negative cables on our batteries. 10 metric socket, and we're actually going to pull this, the 8 metric socket. What we're actually going to do is we're going to pull the cover off this so we can see the workings of this box. All right, before we go to taking the cover off, we're going to disconnect the 2 sensors on the box lid. Okay. Then what we're going to do is we're actually just going to loosen up the 8 metric here. And there's 3 8 metrics on the lid itself. Okay, now the wiring harness, it's got a tab on it. We're just going to simply pull it out. Okay. All right, now to remove the cover, all we need to do is just pull straight up on the cover, and that'll disengage the cover from the box. Okay, and now we're going to lift the filter out. And this will show us the door system inside the bottom of the box here. Now you can see how the door is set up. You can see how the door is set up. Normal driving conditions, this door is open in the box. It's pulling in cold air from the passenger side fender well. Heavy loaded conditions, when the engine's needing more air, this door will actually shut, and it will open the door in the front of the box, and that will allow cold air from the front of the truck to come into the box and to help keep your charge air cool. Okay, so now we're going to get back to the steps of removing everything for the S&B install. What we're going to do now is we're going to go ahead and remove our air intake, our turbo intake tube to begin removing our stock box. So what we did first off is we removed the air intake tube that was going to the PCV kit, the PCV filter. Okay, there's a hose clamp on that, and that's all you got to do to remove it is just loosen it and pull the tube off. Now 8 metric. We're going to the clamp on the face of the turbo. And then simply lift the tube out. Okay, now we're going to remove the box, 13 metric on the front here. Now you just simply rock the box back and forth. That'll disengage the tabs on the bottom of the box to the body mounts, and then you can begin to lift the box out. The wiring harness for the motor, for the door motor, is attached to the box, so you'll have to push it out and try not to break the pins, and continue up. Now the drive motor for the door is right here on the side of the box. I'm going to turn it around to where you can see it. There's one connector for it.
Show them right
on the side of it there. To remove that connector, just simply push down. And that'll remove that motor connector for the box. So this is the motor. There's the door system inside of there. Okay, you can see the louver doors. This is the passenger side under normal operating conditions. Then this opens up in loaded conditions and brings in fresh air from the front of the truck. Now what we've got to do is we've got to extend the motor harness for the swing gate. And what we're going to do here first is we're just going to start taking this motor harness loose all the way around the box to be able to pull it where we need to. So what we're going to do is we're going to start out here at the solenoid, starter solenoid. Okay, just take that off. All right. Now you want to go around with a trim tool, and there's push pins all the way around the battery box. You just want to get those push pins out make sure you don't break any of them. They'll, if you use the right tool, they'll work out on their own. So you want to get all the push pins all the way around the box now. Now what we've got to do is we've got to get this harness extended out from the main wiring loom here. So what we got to do is just trim into the harness.
You know which one goes to which? Purple?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Red goes to the long side. All right, now once you open this main wiring sheath up, what you'll see is there's a piece of tape right here. This has got these three wires bundled together, the ground going out to the ground, the wires going to the swing gate, the two wires going to the starter solenoid. What we're going to do is we're just going to trim that back very carefully. Don't cut the wires. Trim that piece of electrical tape back and remove it. Just like that right there. Then what that's done is that has allowed us to get a little more length on the harness as a whole going to our swing gate motor. All right, so that's going to allow me to have the wire and harness will be able to go completely underneath the box. It should reach perfectly well. We've got some wire insulators that came in our kit, in our hardware kit. So we're going to install those on these two wires. If you lost your on how these install back on your solenoid, I can tell you that what happens here is the red wire on our truck was closest to the engine. So the red wire was closest to the engine. Now, that's what in the kit, they included this little piece of grommet, this little wire insulator. And what we're going to do is we're actually going to put it back on these wires to keep them safe and protect it from getting cut. Okay, now we're going to begin installation of our S&B air box. A few things that we're going to have to do here to start with prep. First off, what we want to talk about is the first step in the installation from S&B is to install this swing door activation light. This actually routes inside the cab, and what it'll do is it'll illuminate. It's got an LED on it. It'll illuminate when your swing door is activated in the air box. We're not going to install this on this brand new truck. This is a neat idea, but we're not going to install it. The owner doesn't want that. So now we're going to go ahead and start. We're going to go ahead and start with the installation of the SB box itself. So first step in prep that we've got to do is we've got to get our IAT sensor and our mass airflow sensor out of the stock box. So just go ahead and remove those. You won't be reusing the stock hardware. Both of those will be reinstalled into the S&B tube. All right, so you'll get a hardware kit for both the sensors. It comes with gaskets and mounting hardware. So we're going to need the gasket for that. And one bolt. Both of these can only go one way. Just tighten these down snug so you've got a seal there. Don't strip anything out. Now we're going to remove the swing door motor from the stock box. So these are T27 fasteners. We're not going to be reusing these back. They've sent us some new ones in the kit, in the S&B kit. And according to the instructions, this is going to be a little bit more difficult than just unbolting it and pulling it out. So and pull the swing door motor out. You just grab the swing door inside the box. It's going to take quite a bit of force to do this. So prizing the swing door off of the motor is pretty difficult. It takes a lot of force to do it. What we did, we just got a screwdriver here, flat tip screwdriver, placed it between the swing motor door and the arm, just worked it back and forth until it popped it off. Then just grabbed the shaft and pulled it straight on out. Okay, now we're going to be putting the swing door motor into the S&B box. They did provide hardware for this. This hardware kit that has the spacers in it, this is what we're going to be using. All right. All spacers are the same size. Box. So when you're installing this, you want to make sure that you install the flat side of the gate to the flat side on the rod and push till it snaps. So all right. Now, it's important to remember when you're using the box, never use the box with the air dam not installed onto the swing arm motor. If it does, you'll get a code in the truck. You actually have to send the motor back to S&B to be reset. So make sure that you don't skip this step. Make sure that you install your air dam for sure. Okay, now we have two grommets that we're going to need to install in the S&B air box. First grommet is kind of more of a triangle shaped here. We're going to push it in until it snaps in place in this groove here. Now this grommet has a little bit of a curve to it, so it only goes in one way. You can see how this is curved, and this will coincide with the curve on the back side of the hole. And be real careful installing this because your air dam is in there. And you can see once you put the grommet in, it creates a better seal against the air dam door. All right, now we've got our air box seal that goes in the box now. And there's our box seal in place.
Someone might forget that, and then we're big blame because it wasn't on YouTube.
All right, now we're going to finish up putting our intake tube together. Hose comes with the kit. Do not use your stock one back. And then the grommet, where it is attached at the turbo. You'll want to go ahead and put your clamps on there before you put your grommet on. Try to get them to where you'll have pretty easy access to them. Okay. All right. Now, take your stock S&B box, and what you're going to be doing is you're actually going to be just inserting this tube into the box. Okay, now the fit on this is fairly loose, but that's perfectly normal. Okay, now we're going to install the S&B intake unit into the truck, and go ahead and start this in. And before you get too awful carried away, you want to take the electrical connector for the swing door motor and go ahead and attach it. All right. Okay, a couple things going on here as you're installing this. The tube tabs for the air box, the grommets, you want to make sure not to push down too hard on all this, because the grommets, the stands are actually going to be plastic, so you can break them if you put too much force on them. But you want to make sure that they're lined up, because if they're not lined up, then your air dam, your air doors aren't actually going to be in the proper location. So make sure you're feeling underneath of this, and make sure that all of the everything's lined up. Okay, now we're going to be finishing up our install hardware. This Allen head bolt provided in the S&B kit. It goes right here in the front. It replaces your old hardware, your stock hardware. So we're going to tighten it down, but not too tight. All right, now our clamps at the turbo, we're going to tighten them down, because I got it where I wanted it. Then tighten down the clamps on your tube to your PCV filter. All right, now I've got all my clamps tight now. Double check them. Okay, now what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and put our air filter into the box. All right, now that everything's lined up where we want, we're going to go ahead and tighten down our front bolt. All right, now we're going to put our lid, our S&B lid on, and it comes with a seal in the kit. You'll want to install a seal on the lid. Our box, hardware, we already installed the washers on it. Okay. Now we're going to hook up our mass airflow sensor. Push it till it clicks. Put our locking tab back on. Then hook up our intake air heater. Now S&B, with their kit, they come with some zip ties. So we're going to zip tie up our wires because a lot of our original wiring is not going to go back in its location, especially the swing door motor wires. So we're going to try to move the wiring around as best we can. move our wiring around as best we can. We'll hook our negative battery cables back up, and that's going to complete our installation of our S&B intake for our 2013 and 14 Dodge models. If you get questions on this install or any other of our installs, just give us a call. Thank you.